Well, hello there.
All right. Well, another on location Tuesday Night Live.
Yeah, tell us where you're at.
I'm back in Charlotte at my parents' place. So once again, I mean, if there's any more Wi-Fi issues, we'll blame my father and not my personal bad connection. But I tell you, I've spent an inordinate amount of time, Jeff, watching Grace and Frankie over the last 24 hours. Like, way too much time.
And you have a review for us, or?
I mean, at this point, I'm laughing at it enough that I don't know if I feel shame for myself or if I've accepted that the show is better than I thought it would be. I don't know. Or
So are you gonna?
maybe I'm just dying of alcohol poisoning. I don't know. I honestly, it could be any of those things.
Are you gonna keep watching the show after you leave your parents? That's a question mark.
I told my wife we were watching it, and if she, I've kept her up with how far we've gotten. So I'm not sure she has been watching along with us. But I'm positive I don't have it in me to rewatch all these episodes, Jeff.
So she'll have to catch up on her own, and then you can continue.
She is going to have to catch up on her own. But I will say, one of my favorite line readings in anything that I have seen in a while came from this show. Jane Fonda. This might not be YouTube appropriate. I don't know. Jane Fonda says, "If anyone's going to sit on Ryan Gosling's face, it's going to be me," and stormed out of a room. It's that I laughed at. I laughed really hard at that. So if you think that's funny, maybe the show is for you. I don't know.
What did your folks think of that?
I think they just sort of they chuckle when I laugh. Sometimes I'm not sure they really get the innuendo.
Okay.
Brooklyn Decker is on the show. Whenever she comes in, my dad does seem to perk up a little bit and he pays a little bit more attention to those scenes. But my mom thinks it's hilarious. Lily Tomlin is either drunk or high most of the time, and my mom finds that to be just hilarious. So, Lily Tomlin, by the way, also does a full squat in one of these episodes, like ass to the ground and pops back up. So I was pretty impressed with that.
That's impressive.
As you know, that's not as easily done as some people might make us think.
No, not easily done. So did you get to any games while you're there this time?
No games this time. No. It's my mom's 81st birthday, so this trip was more for her than for my dad. So in lieu of a baseball game, I spent 3 hours in a Kohl's.
Well, appropriate. Perfect.
Yeah, it's probably about the same level of enjoyment, I think, for her.
But I do know that you somehow still managed to be around the hobby. So tell us about what you found to do with baseball cards.
So I mentioned before there's a bar at my parents' assisted living place. So my dad and I will go down when it opens, and we find some baseball cards at a retail shop. We've been getting really lucky at Barnes and Noble, and I hate saying the phrase "we've been getting lucky at Barnes and Noble," but it's true. This time they had some heritage boxes, so we went ripping.
Oh yeah.
I will say a couple of things up front. The cards I love the 74 design. The cards do look good. I know we talked Heritage last week, so I was pretty excited to get some of these in hand.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this with my dad for maybe maybe 6 times.
Yeah.
About the last year, we've been opening cards down there. We pulled the best card we've ever pulled.
All right. What is it?
It sounds exciting, but
yes.
Second best card, as you know, was an MJ Melendez base rookie. So the bar was very low. Before I reveal that, I will pull out 2 cards to mention. The first is I was trying to tell my parents what to look for in these packs. My mom actually likes to open up the packs too.
Great.
We're looking for something chrome, something shiny. So they found one and they got really excited. And I think there's 90 Heritage Chrome cards in the set. And I think we pulled the worst one. Yohan Moncada has got to be the worst of the 90. Has to be.
How do they choose the 90? Do they choose the 90 best players?
I don't know. Ask Spencer Strider because he did not make the cut. But somehow
we know Topps hates Spencer Strider, so that's not surprising.
Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised by that. But yeah, I don't understand how this guy gets a Chrome card.
Wow.
So I went from being very excited to very disappointed. Well, very quickly.
Yeah.
All right, so one other card. I'm watching my mom go through a pack, and she like stops at a card, and she's really looking at it, and I'm like, "Mom, what do you got?" And she's like, "Well, this guy looks really serious."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay." And she just kind of keeps looking at the card, like she got a little bit lost in the card, and I'm
Hmm.
like, "How serious?" And she's like, "Well, oh," and then she kind of she's like, "Oh, sorry, sorry. He's very handsome in his eyes." And then she just
Wait,
kept staring again.
somehow was Jordan Alvarez in there? Oh,
It was not Jordan Alvarez. It was Michael Harris. And these eyes really do, they come at you.
he's very serious. That's one way to describe it. Yes.
Yeah. So I might have to leave this card behind for my mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I see it's back in your possession. She didn't manage to take it.
Yeah, she asked me about it earlier, but yeah, I think she's gonna have to keep that one.
Oh.
But anyway, so the best card we pulled was another chrome card. It's not a refractor. It's not a black refractor, but it is. I think it non-rookie. It's probably the best chrome card you could pull.
Whoa! Yes. Yes.
And again, my mom, I showed this card to my mom, and she pronounced his name perfectly right.
Yes. He's reaffirming our belief that he is the most popular baseball player in the world.
Oh, by far, by far. So I thought this was pretty cool.
Well, congratulations on that pull. Jared mentioned in the chat 9.99. Are the Chromes still out of 9.99?
Oh yes, still out of 9.99. Yeah,
Yeah, I was just wondering how many players there were in the set, and Chris said there's 90. So yeah, 9 all out of 9.99.
yeah. My brother wanted to know if because this is number 2, does that make it like I don't know special or more valuable? And I was like,
I think maybe number 1 and the jersey number and the last card seem to have some
yeah,
value.
yeah. But this one was pretty cool. I was pretty excited to pull that one.
Yes, Levi can never be upset about pulling an Otani, and especially a parallel. That's pretty sweet. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Worth the price of retail.
I don't know. I mean, those little boxes were like $24, so I don't know if that's a $24 card, but we got a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Yes, I was going to say between that and the Michael Harris, your family got more than $48 worth of
Yeah,
enjoyment.
yeah. I don't want to know exactly how much enjoyment my mom got out of that Michael Harris card.
All right, well, you just leave it there for her, and she can
Yeah.
peruse it at her leisure.
Yeah, I'll leave it on the bedside table, and I won't ask any follow-up questions.
Yeah, we got a comment from Jared about the lack of city name on there. Yeah, it's very noticeable on that specific design. Apparently, there are some legal issues between the Angels and Tops with Anaheim, the city, and Los Angeles. So I guess don't put it on there.
I thought that Tops just forgot. I didn't realize there was actually a story. I haven't really looked into it, but the idea that they would just straight up forget to put the city didn't seem far-fetched to me.
No, that's true. I can see that. That's almost sounds reasonable for them.
Yeah.
Well, in other baseball card news, this doesn't affect us too much since we're not too big into prospecting. But a big prospect made his debut today in Cincinnati. Ellie De La Cruz, they brought up.
Yeah, what's sort of related to that? I got my dad the extra of the MLB package for the Dodgers, and again, we're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he pulled it up on his iPad, and it was blacked out.
What?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's not the ESPN game. It's not the MLB Network game. It's not on Fox. It's not on TBS. I think Charlotte and Cincinnati are like 600 miles apart. So I don't get it. I don't know.
Is that the closest baseball city? They just love.
I know. I think Atlanta's definitely closer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have no idea. He was really frustrated, and I had no answer for him.
Yeah, that's really crappy because you're trying to build the game and expand the game. It's not like your dad being able to watch it on an iPad in Charlotte is taking a ticket away from the Cincinnati band leaders.
No, short of Scotty B cards, I'm not sure many people were rushing to buy tickets to the Cincinnati game anyway.
Yeah, Scott, when he said they were $30, and where he was sitting was pretty darn nice.
That's great. $30 is like a beer at Dodger Stadium. So to get a seat there is fantastic for $30. Yeah. But yeah, I missed Freeman Grand Slam. I would have loved to have been able to watch that. But
yes, yeah, he's sort of making a little MVP push.
Absolutely making a.
Push his old teammate have to be the top two right now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about this week, I posted on my IG story today and got quite a lot of feedback. Was asking what people do with their valuable cards.
Yeah,
A lot,
yeah.
a lot of choices, a lot of things to do. I know Chris and I both get a little bit nervous about having high value cards around for either uh, they might get damaged or we might screw them up somehow.
It's
Uh,
easy for me because I just leave them at your house, so that makes it so much easier. You know.
yes, and then I then transfer them to the bank usually. So anyway, so I had my first experience the past my first negative experience with a vaulting service. And to to preface the story, I only used a vaulting service because at the height of the card boom, like during the pandemic, I had some ridiculously valued cards, and I
Yes.
just didn't feel comfortable with having them here. And so I looked at all the different options for places to put them, and it seemed like the best option at the time I thought was sending them someplace, sending them to a vault where I could have access to them, but that they'd be safe, and I could have uh, digitized images of them, and I could easily transfer them to other people, etc. So I decided to do that, and I had some good success with that. Even making trades out of that vault, I could just send the cards directly from the vault to the person I was trading with, and I had some good success with that. But lately, and in a lot of the news, in a lot of the hobby news, you could see that some of the vault services weren't doing so well.
Yeah. I just can't wrap my head around a company giving out loans with sports cards as collateral. Like that just seems so absurdly irresponsible. I mean, we collect these cards, we love them, but we know the values are just they're gonna fluctuate wildly, and
Yes.
it just seems crazy.
Yeah. So if that's part of a vault uh, setup, which
Yeah.
in the case of the vault that I used, it was that they would help you leverage your cards to get more cards. Something I never utilized. I thankfully I never fell victim to that trap. Although there was a lot of high pressure to do that from the company and emails and
Really,
voicemails. Yeah.
they, they they were pressuring you to take out. They thought, wow,
Well, I mean, I guess yeah, it was kind of pressure. I mean, they would say you have this amount of money available. We can offer you this much money against it to buy other cards. Um, Henry, are you? I missed Henry's comment, but it was something about you in a
it's.
different room.
I promise you, it's still me. I'm on location. I'm somewhere else. It does feel weird. I forgot to pack my Master of the Universe cup. So I've got one of these. If anyone here, if you spend time at your parents, your aunt or uncle's house, they have Tervis cups. I guarantee you they have these plastic Tervis cups. So I've got myself a Blue Crab plastic Tervis cup, and I feel like it's aging me as I sit here. You know, I'll be in my 50s in the next half an hour.
Yeah, next time you're there, you're gonna have to have a rocking chair to do the show from. You're
You're not.
sipping on a rocking chair.
Yeah, this wooden armchair with my dad's like high school graduation gift chair that somehow still exists. I don't. It's some good craftsmanship, I'll tell you that much.
Uh, yeah, I see that Jared says safety deposit box or fireproof vault in home. So yeah, I've been reading a lot about different options, and it seems like from the poll I put up on Instagram, the vast majority, it was over 75% when I checked, keep their valuable cards in a safe at their own house,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
makes sense. There was a lot of reasons for that they have access to with them, that they can
Yeah.
look at them whenever they want. One thing that was interesting that I was reading about the fireproof vaults is that people who have actually had fires with the fireproof vaults, the cards don't get on fire, but the plastic melts. So the
Oh.
being fireproof isn't really that helpful with cards with slabs.
Oh no, this is like the one time we're having a slab is bad.
Yeah,
Oh
it just
yeah.
melts around the card. Apparently, I think at around 200 degrees or something, the plastic can start to melt, and the fires usually get much hotter than that, and the vault still keeps the
Hmm.
contents safe from the fire, but can't help the melting.
Yeah, I mean that's just like my pot on the stove will also keep the soup safe from the fire, but it will heat up the inside. I do think safety deposit box is probably number one. I would say the movie The Inside Man with Clive Owen and Denzel Washington concerns me a
Love it.
little, but for the most part, I think that's probably the safest number one thing to do. Not all banks are even doing that anymore, though.
No,
So that's an option for everybody.
no. In fact, I had to be on a waiting list in order to get my safe deposit box. They were only allowing a certain amount, and yeah, it took about a year for me to get mine. And then originally, I got a small one that was like the size of a PSA box. I'm like, well, that's not going to do well for too long. So finally, I got a bigger one. But even that, depending how many slabs you have or how many slabs of value, that can outgrow the bank pretty quickly.
Is this why you've been pushing for consolidation so much in the last 6 months?
Yes, we need to make more space in that safe deposit box.
Yeah, for some reason, banks are tightening up that. I don't know what the deal is, but the one that I have at the bank, one of the locks really sticks. And the last time, or one of the last times I was there, it took like two employees to get it open. And I
Uh-oh.
can just switch. I don't. That number doesn't mean anything to me. You can give me another number, and they said they're not doing any new boxes, so they're not allowing any transferring because they're like, oh no, it's the same thing as a new box. I'm like, so what if the key breaks off in there?
Right, exactly. Jared says, I'm a banker. Larger boxes are in demand and have long wait lists. Yeah, that's what I discovered.
Oh, there you go.
Hopefully, I mean, if it's somebody that's trying to do an inside man type job, they would be there for more than my, I don't know, Vlad Sapphire rookie.
Yeah, I think they would be pretty disappointed.
Yeah, some Nazi papers might rank higher on their list.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot more incriminating information in there. I'm sure cards are a little bit embarrassing, but they're not that level of embarrassing for sure.
Right. Yeah, somebody blackmails us. Somebody blackmails our employer, telling us, "You know, your employee keeps baseball cards at the bank." No.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean the downsides for a safe deposit box, besides the very small percent that it gets lost or stolen, is just access, bank hours only.
Yeah, it stinks. I would love to, and I would love to just gaze on my Freddie Freeman cards more often than I do, but I'd rather them be safe, quite frankly. You know, so it's a crappy toss up.
Yeah, I got a good response from Aaron. I think it's Bargain Baseball on IG, and
Okay,
his response was, "I've sold them all. It's too stressful. Keeping any card that has to be locked up or stored elsewhere defeats the purpose for me," which I
that's fair.
get.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's similar to what I told Chris with this whole vaulting business. And part of the problem was when I wanted to get my cards out of the vault, I had a very difficult time doing it. I couldn't talk to anybody. Oh boy, Dodgers just lost on a walk-off three-run ninth inning home run by the Reds. And that reminded me that you guys are live tonight. Well, thanks, Kevin, for joining us. I appreciate that.
If
Wow.
if we listen carefully, there'll be a delay to when my dad sees that when he's watching the play-by-play, and I'm sure we'll hear a loud profanity come through the wall here. Who hit the home run? Just out of curiosity. I'm sure Evan Phillips, my fantasy closer, gave it up because that's how my fantasy season is. But hopefully, it was at least like Jonathan India or Steer or McLean. But I don't know. We'll see.
Fraley I've got hanging around. That'd be great if it was him.
Yeah, Fraley too. Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is, so it was. I had trouble getting cards out. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I found out that the company does not allow people to talk to anybody on the phone. Everything's done via email or chat.
Always a
And yes, and their time frame went from 2 to 3 business days to 5 to 7 business days to 7 to 10 business days, and it was much longer than that by the time I got a notice that my cards were actually shipped. So I got them back this week. I'm very happy to have them back. But what I told Chris was that the whole reason I had my cards at the vault were to make me less anxious about them and not stressed. And so to have them there and be causing this stress, it just completely defeated the purpose. So that's why I'm looking at other options.
I think that yeah. I mean, I get that you don't want to reveal the vault that you use. I feel like of all the vaults we've seen, we've read quite a few, but I feel like the eBay vault is probably the safest one. Like that company is not going under anytime soon. I certainly, I don't know, I wouldn't think so, but that's probably got to be the safest one. But then also the hardest to ever get in touch with someone. I would think they're going to be the busiest.
Yeah, I wonder how high on their priority list sports card vaulting is.
Oh, a McLean walk-off single. Okay, well, at least there's that. Was that? I'm assuming it's off of Evan Phillips. I don't. I don't need to know, but I'll find out shortly enough. Good lord. Um,
Uh, Jared says I've seen people keep a lot of weird things in their boxes. I'm sure. I'm sure baseball cards aren't the strangest things people have
yeah,
kept in the box. But yeah, there's definitely an element of comfort knowing that it's
yeah.
at the bank.
Although, yeah, then I get excited when I go to the bank and I kind of look through everything again. Like I go over like maybe about every other week.
Yeah.
Look at what's in there as I'm like mixing and match, taking something out, putting something else in, and just boring the hell, just driving the employees crazy because
I was just gonna say, I wonder what the employees think because I'm sure they recognize me by now. It's not always the same employees, but there's a lot of them there around the same time, and
yep.
they're probably like, "What is this guy doing?" And they must think maybe I'm like Jason Bourne and have my 7 passports and weapons hid in there instead of like a I don't know. What I find in there last time like a Jared Kelenic
Oh no.
extract.
Yeah,
Like,
they definitely think you've got a stack of passports in there and a whole bunch of foreign currency, and you're off to like destabilize some other government in a Central American country. But instead, yeah, you're just like filing some Jordan Alvarez slabs into a safety deposit box.
yeah, they're listening outside the door. They just hear this click, click, click of
Like,
all the slabs going together, and like, ooh, I forgot about that one. Oh yeah, all right.
yeah, they're probably on like Googling like Eastern European government Kellenic. Like, who is this person? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, and then one time, this one lady helped me because usually, like, I'll just put the drawer in, and then they'll close it and lock it with the key. But this time, like, she lifted it, and I thought she was going to drop it. She didn't realize quite how heavy that number of slabs could be in a safe deposit box. So from now on, I just kind of move it over there myself.
Yeah, yeah. Now we don't need to add that level of anxiety of a person potentially dropping our safety deposit box. Oh, hold on. Oh wow.
So Levi says I ship my cards to the eBay vault, and the fees to get them out was $20 to $50 a card based on the most recent sale. And you have to ship each one back individually, which is annoying. Holy crap, that sounds terrible, Levi.
Wow. But I
I mean, it
mean,
depends
you're,
on the cards. $20 to $50 is probably reasonable if it was like a bunch of auto Mickey Mantles or something. So
yeah. I mean, who knows what? Yeah, it just entirely depends on what's in there.
yeah,
Yeah,
my fee to get the cards out was 1% on everything that had been in there longer than 90 days, 3% for anything under 90 days, and then you had to pay the insurance fee. So yeah, it was a lot, but I was just glad to get the cards back.
yeah. I mean, at that point, for sure. Yeah, I mean, at those prices, like if you got some high grade Gretzky's, like that's fine. But if you're looking at like a stack of Lou Bob of Lewis Robert base rookies, maybe you just kind of tear up the paperwork and change your password and call it a day.
And shipping them back individually is crazy. All right, Jesse Galvez says nobody thinks you're Jason Bourne. Well,
I mean, I think that's okay. I mean, there's a slight Matt Damon resemblance, maybe.
I just mean with the frequent use of my safe deposit box, Jesse. But yes, thank you.
Although yeah, maybe speaking of secret agent type movies, maybe what we should do is bury the cards under concrete in one of our basements, like John Wick, and then whenever we
Okay,
fail, we have to sledgehammer out the card.
sledgehammer. Well, yeah, that would really put you to the test for say cards you're going to keep for the long term. Yeah, I'm keeping these for the long term.
Yeah, but I mean it kind of mix in some exercise with the collecting.
Yeah.
Although concrete can be pretty expensive. Resemblance with the. Oh wow,
Team America.
Matt Damon.
um.
All right.
Oh yeah, God is great. Yes, please, thanks. Everybody, hit that like button. Thanks for coming in from Japan and reminding everybody. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in and telling us both we look like mentally deficient puppets. That's great. I mean, it's not wrong. I really can't. I can't argue the comparison. All right. So I know we are. I am kind of limited on time. I just wanted to know, Jeff, on a scale of 1 to 10. Actually, that's not. Yeah. How worried are you about where Rafael Devers is right now this season?
Ooh, like is very worried. Is one like Jacob DeGrom
Well,
level
no,
of concern?
10 is most worried.
Donnie
Yeah.
or vice versa?
Yeah, I would say like 10 being extremely worried, one being like not concerned at all. He'll get the OBP up over 300 any day now.
I would say it's my level of concern is about a 3.
Okay.
So not too high because he's still piling up some counting numbers. I would
Yeah.
definitely want that OBP to be higher. That whole team's not great. All right, Henry says 5. I can see 5. There's some
Yeah.
people jumping out of windows saying 9 or 10, but
Yeah, I mean, the RBIs are great. He's on pace for like 140 RBIs and like 36 home runs. But I mean, just the hits are not falling in. Walk rate is at sort of a career low as well, which is a little troubling. And his exit velocities are still good. Like I feel like when I looked at the baseball savant numbers, they were still good. So there is an element of unlucky or misfortune to him.
yeah, I mean, we're still only a third of the way in, and those numbers that you said, those counting numbers are huge. And like we've talked about with Devers before, that's his path to superstardom. That's
Yes.
the path to the Hall of Fame is getting those counting stats.
Yeah.
I mean, he may not ever be a top WAR guy, or he may not ever be a triple crown threat, but just those counting numbers, that's going to be his bread and butter. So until that really starts dropping off, then my level of concern doesn't get too high.
Yeah. Mine's only a little bit higher because I have so much invested in him both in cards and fantasy. Kind of like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like they're both sort of anchoring my keeper teams. And when I say anchor, I mean
Anchor.
sinking
Yeah.
those to the bottom of the standings. But
Yeah. But I mean, even Vlad, yeah, he hasn't hit any home runs at home yet, but I mean, he's not terrible.
he's not terrible, but no one loves Vladimir Guerrero because he's not terrible. You know,
Yeah.
we're all expecting a lot more. I'm not panicking yet, but I do get frustrated.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's long enough in the season to get frustrated. I don't think it's quite long enough to give up like some people were doing on Soto early on. And, well,
Oh, I definitely am not giving up on Guerrero at all, and I think we have seen some Money Mike. That's an excellent question. I'll get back to the Money Mike question in a second. We have seen some all time low sales on Vlad stuff, and if you are a long term Guerrero believer, like I have not seen a better time to go after some Guerrero stuff like that. We just saw that Red Ink PSA 9 didn't even break $500.
oh, yes. Yeah.
And if you love Guerrero, Jeff and I still long term believe in Guerrero. If you're on that train, now is a great time to look around and see what you can grab. Because I
I
bet
mean,
you,
he's still so young. And yeah, he's
yeah,
slumping and having a rough start. He hasn't hit any home runs at home, but yet he's still on a 30-100 pace and batting almost 300. So,
yeah,
I mean, if that ends up being a career worst year for a guy who can play 15 to 18 years, that's not so bad. So, yeah, if you do believe in him long term, he's seems like a good buy now. And I think the other thing is he's being overshadowed a little bit by Bo Bichette, who's hitting everything in sight.
absolutely. Bo's got the better hair, and and
Oh,
he's better line drive percentage. All right, question about Michael Harris. Um, my concern isn't low, but I wouldn't say it's very high. I think the number I just saw someone put up was a 5. That's probably about where I am. I mean,
I believe that was Henry. Henry's 5 was on Devers, and he's at a 9 on
oh, yeah,
players.
not that high. I mean, when he came up last year, they told him like, don't worry about hitting, just go play center field. And I feel like it took a while for the league to catch up to him, and they have. I mean, where he's hitting a buck 50 with a 500 OPS, like these are bad numbers, and we're seeing some really bad at bats. But he's super young.
Yeah.
Without looking at, he's either 21 or 22, and he's still catching everything in sight in center field. I think they bat him last, and they're hoping he's going to figure something out. But the
Yeah,
defense plays, and he's not going down anytime soon.
yeah. I was gonna say that's the one of the negative effects of having such a big breakout season when you're young is that your expectations on you are so high,
Yeah,
and eventually the league catches up. It's just the way it is.
And he was doing amazing things last year. Like he had that home run he hit against the Marlins to tie the game off a lefty in the ninth inning. Like Oppo was crazy. So the swing is there. He's just, I don't know. He's a little in between. He's just fighting it right now.
Yeah.
I assume he's talented enough. I know Chipper Jones came in. We talked about it. Like he came in for a weekend to work with him. I think he'll figure something out. But the defense is still like elite.
Yeah.
Now, have I spent a lot of money on his cards lately? Absolutely not. The only Michael Harris card I have, technically, I think belongs to my mom and will remain in my mom's possession after I leave. But I will be watching, and if he has a Chrome SSP and at a Topps Chrome, and it's going for, maybe $100 or 200, I may jump on one because I like him long term. It's ugly right now for sure, but it can turn around in a hurry. We've seen things go good and bad real quick.
Speaking of good and bad, I just wanted to get your take on the Padres because now they got Machado back, but it looks like Bogarts is hurt and he's been sitting out a few games. They said it's not serious, but he's been dealing with it basically since he started the season so hot. So is that a concern?
I would think it is for them. I mean, it seems like the kind of thing they should just put him on the shelf for 2 weeks and let it heal. Like, there's no reason to make him play through it and possibly make something worse.
Yeah.
Machado, Tatis, and Soto can carry the load for at least 2 or 3 weeks while he heals. Because he's been you have him in fantasy and so do I, which explains why this is happening. But yeah, he's just been a void for like 2 weeks in the lineup. Like he's an absolute dead spot.
And even a little bit more than that. I mean, he started off so great. And Thomas Chophouse, the Padres can't pitch over 162. Well, I mean, yeah, they have shown some struggles. I think their idea was that they could outscore everybody, which maybe if they have a healthy lineup that could happen. But
yeah, I mean,
gotten hot. He's been hitting bombs.
Blake Snell's thrown 2 scoreless outings in a row.
And even Michael Wacha has been better than they thought.
Yeah, but I mean, how good is that?
Well, you're expecting nothing, and you got something. Right. So that's pretty good for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to write them out until they're mathematically eliminated. I still think they're going to,
for sure,
turn it on at some point. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Diamondbacks sure do look good, though. I feel like they're a really good relief pitcher away from it not being funny anymore. Corbin Carroll is running away with the NL Rookie of the Year award right now.
Yeah, they've got some exciting players to watch, and I think it was it Ephus? Somebody in one of our chats was talking about how they're one of the most exciting teams to watch in all of baseball. And I think that's true, which is crazy.
Yeah, Snell does look like all he does is play Fortnite. He looks like he hasn't slept in 2 weeks. Like he's been on some kind of meth bender, and they shake him out of the back of a van and throw him on the mound to pitch. And somehow he gets it done sometimes, not when I put him in my lineup, but every other time. But
last couple times.
Yeah, that just seems to be the secret. If I could just put someone on my bench for a little while, they will turn it around.
Well, I've got Harris on the bench, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What do we think about Alek Manoah? Not going to AAA, not going to AA, not going to Single A, not going to short season Single A, but going to like the instructional league in Florida. Good Lord.
I think that they had to do something.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just felt like even that he's so far gone that what he's going through, you can't work through at AAA, so you just got to go down to instructionals, which I get. I mean, I'm sure after a few weeks they'll move him up and start facing better hitters, but.
Oh, interesting. All right, well, I just saw, I did not realize that was an actual complaint about Blake Snell. That he'd rather just that it doesn't work on his game and he just plays Fortnite. That's terrible. Has there been any examples of this, of a pitcher being top 3 of the Cy Young 1 year and the instructional league the next year? Like,
Blake Snell was close. Speaking of him,
nation.
What?
Halladay went down, but he didn't go that far down.
Right.
And I don't think he was a Cy Young contender the year before he went down. I know they sort of famously, like, he had a bunch of crap starts and they sent him to AAA and all of a sudden some sort of light, like a switch went on. But this is nuts. Yeah. Like, we forget how good Alek Manoah was last year. His whip was like well under 1. His ERA was under 3. He was like one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball.
And the
Now,
fact that nothing that he was doing well this year. I mean,
no, yeah, worst. Oh, so it's down to Dunedin single A. Well, at least he was pitching in a game. I mean, that their hope for Manoah is like a bullpen session that they're going to videotape.
yeah, he's going to be on the backfields.
I mean, I want to get some kind of explanation. I don't know if we ever will. Did he gain a bunch of weight? I don't know if Rediscovering Sports Cards is watching this, but she's an excellent monitor of Alek Manoah's body shape and belts and buttons look. I should check in and see if they've noticed something. But I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. The fact that he's walking so many players. I mean, I'm concerned about Corbin Burns walking 30 guys this year, which is crazy for him. But I saw Manoah's over 60 walks.
Yeah. The only thing I can even come close to compare it to is when Sandoval showed up to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And he just like didn't give an shit anymore.
Yeah.
He just showed up fat and couldn't care less. Yeah. Is it the pitch clock? I mean, yeah, I should have. You're right. Definitely should.
Yeah. I mean, I think pitch clock, maybe especially at first. I know Soto talked about that from a hitting perspective, but
if you can't in 2 months, what on earth? Or 3 months, he had all of spring training to figure this out.
Yeah.
If he did gain weight and that's just the thing, he's out of shape and he can't physically catch his breath in 20 seconds, then we got a serious problem.
Well, maybe he'll be back after the All-Star break, 20 pounds trimmer, and just mow through the league.
I don't know. So as you know, in that league that you run, I do have him on a team. I'll tell you right now, if I drop him, and you have like a very small bench, I bet if I release him, he goes like 11-0 with an ERA under 2 in the second half of the season.
Right. It's just going to be somebody's going to have to pick him up and clog up one of those bench spots for the 2 months that he's gone.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer I can roll with. I haven't actually put him on my lineup in like 6 weeks. He just sits there on my bench.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, it's awful. But I wonder about the people who have money invested in his cards. They've just got to be beside themselves.
Yeah. I mean, there's that old adage, right? You don't invest in pitchers, but he looked so good. Not physically, but the results were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw someone liken him to Bartolo Colon. Bartolo Colon was like just an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
Regardless of his size, he was actually I think he was fit, just fat but fit.
Yeah, I don't see Manoah hitting any home runs.
No, I don't know if Manoah can make it around the bases. I really don't.
That's a good point.
I don't know. But so let's go back. Are you considering vaulting again, Jeff, or are you now, after this issue you had getting your cards back and the fear are you ever going to vault again?
I don't think so. I can't see myself ever vaulting again. And the sheer volume of people who just preferred the safe at home was kind of surprising to me. I thought more people might say the bank as an option, because there at least you have access during banking hours. You can go versus a vault where it's sent off site. But I don't know. I still feel uncomfortable having expensive cards, and I'm not talking like mantle rookies or anything, but just having expensive cards around is kind of enough to give me anxiety. There's some people who just keep them out on their wall or on display, which is great. I mean, yeah, I get the idea. You want to be able to look at your cards, you want to be able to appreciate them, but there's got to be sort of a give and take there, where if that's going to make you more anxious than putting them away where you can't see them all the time, then that's maybe not worth it.
I designed like a nice sort of like built-in the walls. I was going to go like 6 inches deep in the walls, and then like reinforce it around with like bulletproof locked glass on the outside. I drew a really nice design, and it would be in a part of our bedroom that doesn't face a window, so there would be no light to
in the bed. Right. I like it.
Way. I would say I spent like 2 hours on this drawing with and I had a whole presentation ready. It was vetoed within like 3 seconds. Like a near instantaneous veto.
And that was before you even priced it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're able to afford such a thing, and we've seen some people with these sort of displays like that are incredible. Right now I have an IKEA shelf with some sort of mid-range Acuñas on it that I like to say goodnight to at night. That's pretty much about it right now.
Yeah. So to answer your question, no, I don't think I'm going to vault, but I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And for better or worse, most of the cards that I had sent in to be vaulted have come so far down in value that it's not as much of a concern anymore. So maybe that's a way of a positive way to spin the downturn in the market over the last 2 years.
Okay, well, here's a question for you then. I don't know how far they've come down, but does any part of you wish you'd taken the loan out? You'd taken the 40% in cash and then just sort of washed your hands of all the cards and walked away?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so because most of your cards that were over there were Giannis cards, right?
Yeah, a lot of Giannis rookies that would have been hard to get again.
And those
And
mean more than the monetary value. As a
yeah,
Milwaukee Bucks fan, like those, yeah, those are important to you. So
yeah, up early. I picked them up right when I got back into the hobby. So yeah, they have a lot of sentimental value as well. But if you're asking, do I wish I had sold more at the peak and gotten that cash? Well,
well, for sure. But I mean,
yeah,
we would have just blown that money too. I
probably.
mean,
I would have bought something at that price at the same time, which has also come down or come down further.
yeah, we probably would have bought like a really nice Tatis card.
Right.
That might
Yeah.
not have worked. But
But all right. Well, I want to. We don't want to keep Chris any longer. He's got some Grace and Frankie to get back to.
yes, I heard the theme song, so I know they started a fresh one without me.
You better get the update on what happened. I don't know if you'll be able to
I
follow.
assure you, I'll get a full recounting of the episode that I missed.
Hey, Lou Rock TV. Thanks for joining us. Uh, we're just cutting it short now. Chris is over on the other coast and enjoying some time with his family, so he's got to go. But we'll be back next week.
Yes, and it's an extended family at this point. I think Grace and Frankie are almost officially part of my
Your family.
yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you that there was a PSA order we sent in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Card PSA order, and it is now at QA2, which, as you know, is the last step before shipping. So we might have some cards to look at for next week.
Yes,
Are you prepared to open them live here?
yeah, we're looking at a potential blind reveal, which is
Yeah.
great for our anxiety levels. But our anxiety is your entertainment.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be
But
great. There's some cards I'm really concerned about in there, or concerned at what grades they might be given.
yeah, and I think there's also a couple cards that are in there that have probably I lost some value since they were sent in. Is one way.
You're talking about my Grayson Rodriguez cards?
Yeah, those are the ones I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when I keep a prospect on my fantasy team, Jeff. You have to know that prospect is basically going to die.
Well, he had the near death last year when he missed all that time because of injury, and I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be out of his system. He's going to come in and be ready, and just not ready yet.
It is insane. Like, I don't know. I watched some of his starts, and it's just from batter to batter, the inconsistency is just mind blowing. He would have like the four hitter I forget who I was watching against the Angels, and he just like I think he struck out Trout on like 3 pitches, and it was just like 98 on the black, 98 on the black, and then the next inning he gave up 7 runs.
Yeah.
Like no consistency at all. I wanted to blame Adley Rutschman, but it's obviously not his fault. But I tried.
Not happening over and over. I guess the best thing to do is send him down, get it figured out.
Yeah,
but yeah. So hopefully those cards will be the ones that got the unexpected 9s or the rare 8 thrown in there. And
yeah, I hate to offer your cards as sacrificial lambs, but I would be
I'm for it. Yeah.
But
so that back next week. That would be fun to look at.
Yeah. We also got, if you want to just hold up the pet, we got a something in the mail today. We're not going to open, but we did get.
I don't have it here, but yeah.
Yes, we did. Somebody that we talked about today that Jeff and I do believe in. We actually took advantage of what we thought were crashing prices that shouldn't be. So we picked up a card. I didn't think you and I would ever see one in this condition. So it's exciting to have.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can do a video this week and get on and show it.
Yeah, all right. I need something to get Grace and Frankie out of my head.
Yes. Well, enjoy the rest of your Grace and Frankie marathon.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us, and all the input that you guys had about vaulting and where you keep your valuable cards. It's much appreciated, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do.
All right. Yeah.
Keep the.
All
All
right.
right. Take care, Chris. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you all next week. Have a good week.